Welcome back to UnderCover, Waterproofing and Underpinning Secrets by DGI Waterproofing. This is our deep dive for episode 27, The Truth About Efflorescence in GTA Basements.
Yeah, and hey, if you caught our last deep dive, Silence the Siren, a sump pump troubleshooting guide. You know we like to get right into the practical, messy stuff you're actually dealing with in your own home.
Right, exactly. So today we are decoding that weird chalky white haze you might see creeping across your basement walls. You know, it looks a bit like powdered sugar on a donut, except, well, instead of being a sweet treat, it's just a source of massive stress for homeowners.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, when our DGI teams are out on service calls in the GTA, this powdery white stuff, which is called efflorescence, is easily like top of the list for homeowner panic.
Because everyone instantly thinks it's toxic mold, right? Like you see this stuff and should you be calling a structural engineer or, I don't know, just grabbing a dustpan?
Right, they see something growing on a damp wall and totally freak out.
Yeah.
But before you panic, we have to look at the chemistry of the wall itself. Like concrete and block, they aren't just dead slabs of gray stone.
Which is wild to think about.
Yeah, they're made of natural earth, right?
Yeah.
Limestone, clay, aggregate. So they are packed with natural soluble mineral salts from day one.
Okay, so the raw material for the white powder is already just sitting there inside the masonry.
Exactly. It's completely dormant. It just needs water. Concrete is basically a really dense sponge full of microscopic capillaries. So when water enters from the outside soil, it dissolves those salts and pulls them through the wall towards your basement.
Seeking equilibrium, right? And then the water hits the open air of the basement, evaporates, and leaves the heavy cargo behind.
Precisely. The salts crystallize on the surface, leaving that fine white powder. That's efflorescence. It literally means to flower out in French. It's just a normal physical reaction of cement to moisture, not a structural defect eating your wall.
Okay, so my panic over toxic mold is effectively canceled. But, you know, seeing salt on my wall still tells me water got in. That's its own headache.
For sure. But if you're standing there wondering if it's salt or mold, the easiest way to tell is by touch and smell. Efflorescence is gritty. It crushes into dry powder, and it has absolutely zero odor. Mold is fuzzy, sometimes slimy, and it has that distinct, musty smell.
And we also recommend a really quick water test in our guide, right?
Oh, yeah, it's a great field test. Just mist a little tap water on the patch. The white powder will usually dissolve and vanish right before your eyes. Mold won't dissolve. It just gets wet and smears.
Right. Okay, assuming it dissolves and it's just efflorescence, what does this actually mean for the house? Like, does this salt mean I have an active leak happening right now, or is this just old news from a bad storm 3 years ago?
That's the million-dollar question. The powder looks the same either way. You have to look at the wall around it.
It's kind of like finding a puddle on your kitchen floor, right? Like if you dropped an ice cube earlier, you wipe it up, no big deal. But if you wipe it up and the puddle keeps coming back.
Your fridge is actively leaking. Yes, that is a perfect analogy. We have to figure out if your foundation just dropped an ice cube or if it's actively leaking. And brand new concrete actually drops an ice cube just by curing.
Oh, right, the new building bloom. People buy new builds and totally panic in year one.
Yeah, the concrete sheds excess moisture as it cures, causing a one-time bloom. But to test, if you have an active recurring problem without buying expensive gear, you can just do our 30-day test.
Which is super easy. What is it, just a dry brush?
Yeah, take a stiff, dry brush, scrub away a patch of the powder down to the bare concrete, snap a clear photo with the date, and check back in a month.
Establishing a baseline?
Exactly. If the powder creeps back in 30 days, you have an active moisture source feeding the wall. If it stays clean, it's probably just an old stain.
Okay, so let's say the white fuzz comes back. Water is pushing through. Why is this so rampant in the greater Toronto area specifically? Like, we treat the GTA as ground zero for this stuff.
It's the soil and the climate. The GTA sits on incredibly dense clay soil. Clay is basically impermeable. So the hole dug for your basement acts like a giant ceramic cereal bowl.
Trapping all the rainwater right against the foundation.
Right, which creates immense hydrostatic pressure. The sheer weight of that trapped water physically injects moisture into the concrete's capillaries. Add in our extreme freeze-thaw cycles.
Right, the freezing water expands inside the concrete, acting like a microscopic jackhammer.
Exactly. It widens the cracks year after year. But the good news is, the culprits filling that clay bowl are usually right above your head. Overwhelmed gutters, downspouts dumping right next to the wall, or yard grading sloping toward the house.
But fixing grading sounds exhausting. I mean, honestly, can't I just go buy a bucket of waterproof basement paint and slap it over the white powder?
I mean, you can, but it's one of the worst things you could possibly do.
Wait, really? But it says waterproof on the tin.
It's a trap. First, the paint won't stick to the loose salt powder. It'll just peel off in months. And second, even if it does stick, you haven't stopped the water outside. You've just trapped it inside the masonry block.
Oh, wow. So the wall just stays permanently saturated.
Yeah, which accelerates spalling, where the concrete surface actually crumbles and pops off. You have to manage the water on the outside before it enters the wall. Fix your gutters and grading first.
Okay, so say the listener fixes the outside drainage. The wall dries out. How do they safely get rid of the chalky reminder on the inside?
The golden rule here at DGI is you must start dry. Don't use a wet sponge or a pressure washer.
Because adding water just dissolves the salt right back into the wall.
Exactly. You just reset the clock and trigger a fresh bloom when it dries. Use a stiff nylon brush knot wire, or it'll rustware a dust mask, and just sweep it into a dustpan. You'll be amazed how much comes off.
But what if it's super stubborn, like calcified?
Then you escalate to a purpose-made, acid-based masonry cleaner. But strictly follow the dilution rules. Apply it only to the stubborn spots and dry it fast.
Right. But obviously, if that 30-day test shows the powder keeps coming back despite exterior fixes, or if you see bowing walls or widening cracks,
Then it's time to call in the professionals. We see this all the time at DGI. If the hydraulic pressure is winning, you need a proper interior or exterior waterproofing system.
because at that point, the efflorescence is a warning siren of a failing foundation. So quick recap. It's natural salt, not mold. Test it with a dry brush and a photo. Fix your exterior drainage, never paint over it, and call the experts if it comes back.
Spot on.
But, based on the mechanics we just talked about, I got to leave you with this final thought. If these salts are naturally built into the concrete and water continuously dissolves them and carries them out year after year, what happens to the structural integrity over decades? Like, is a 100-year-old basement wall in downtown Toronto actually significantly lighter or more porous than a 10-year-old one simply because it's been slowly sweating out its own internal mass for a century? Something to think about next time you go down to do laundry.